Hello, this is my website. You are welcome to look at this. Check this out.
All of us should have a personal website that showcases our mental and physical powers so we can challenge, push, inspire, and evolve each other into a more perfect union of free individuals. I have been working on this website for the last 12 years, since I got my first real laptop in 2003 when I was teaching English in Santiago, Chile. The first project I worked on was for my English teaching website, which turned into this when I moved back to America in 2007. With a consistent and original internet language, I have created many informative pages such as my complete history timeline, and spread my original educational ideas such as Bikeversity and Fantasylandia. The design of my website style is to condense information in a consistent way so it can be absorbed quickly and navigated easily. The best way to display a lot of information in a small area is by removing dead space and replacing redundant words with colors and fonts. If the website is consistent in its design, then it becomes a new language that people can learn to interpret and become inspired use to create their own personal website languages. My website language consists of 4 categories: 1, the 2 side columns page; 2, the 5 column list; 3, color and number coding; and 4, upper nim, font, and border coding.
So, the 2 side columns page, you can see here, this is my front page. Most of my pages utilize this. And I like it because it frames the whole page together like a picture. So on the top you see the top frame border, and then the sides are the side frame. And then on the bottom would be the end of the writing. So whatever section chapter I write it, I'd like to have it kind of take up the whole page. Howdy. So here we are. So this part that I just read is like 226 words. So your average page is 240 words. So this is pretty much close to a page. I think it took, when I read it on double speed on my Macintosh, it took 44 seconds to read this, as I recall. So, like double speed reading on Macintosh is kind of like just under a minute per page, if you want to look at it like that. So, yeah, I'd like to eventually, when I get around to it, put like the links of all my cool charts and stuff like right around here. So I have the 2 side column page, which I explained before, and then so that's where I explain that here now. So this is the general layout of my website. The front part here is on a blue backdrop, and then I have the different page chapters down below on the 1 to 5 color coding, 1 to 10. So as you can see here, 1 is pink. Here I have it over here. Yeah, see, everything has to have a number attached to it. Maybe I should have this read it. No, that'll take too long. So, yeah, 1 is pink, 2 is orange, 3 is light yellow, 4 is dark yellow, 5 is light green, 6 is dark green, 7 is light blue, 8 is dark blue, 9 is ocean blue, 10 is purple. So this is the colors that I thought were most appropriate to be the background. That's not too dark, but is also distinct enough to mimic a rainbow in the same order as an actual rainbow. Kind of goes like this, like red kind of goes to orange to yellow to. I should put a real rainbow next to this. I will. So, I guess I'm skipping around. So the first part, if I skip around, sorry, this is stoned version. I'll do sober version later. But see, I was really stoned when I designed this, so I wanted to explain it while I'm in the state where I am when I designed it, right? And when I built it. So this is what your average page looks like, the side column. You have 20%, 20%, because you can read across just fine on a normal MacBook. I have a MacBook Pro, the largest that they have, 15.5 inch. So it works great. Pictures are perfect size on the side. text is the perfect width. So everything is jam-packed together. You're getting, you know, like up here, this is a page, but it doesn't really look like a page. It kind of makes it condensed. It makes it look smaller than a page. And so that's what I'm shooting for. So, and then I have the 5-column list. This is where I make lists. My website is really important with the lists. Very heavy on lists. Because the lists is information, text. And so, you know, like the dictionary and the almanac, those are lists. So it's just a condensing information. And so my lists are built on 5 columns that go across the whole page. So those are 20%. So the columns that go across are actually on the side are the same width as the columns on the side when you have the text in the middle. So a normal text page like here is kind of like the 3 columns gutted out. So, and I like having the 3 columns, this 5 columns across, because when you have here, do I have an example? I should have an example of an actual one right here. Just silly me. Well, I'll put that there. Yeah, there's a little bit rushed because I have to sober up in a couple days. So, so is the last time I can do stuff. So, but when this goes across the whole page, 20% is about how much width you would need, you know, or more than enough width you would need usually, by just a little bit, for something in a list, like a name or something, you know. And if it's more than that, it's just like 2, and then 2 is good enough for. So you can condense lots of stuff perfectly, lots of words per page this way, and you can move across the list. So the general concept of my website is to condense information, kind of like a crystal condenses information in a symmetrical way. And so when I have stuff on lists, I can have things where you have folders within folders. These are my folders within folders. So like 1, 2, it's like a layer on top of it. You can see 2 is a layer, and you can see the outline of 1 around 2, and you can see the outline of 1 and 2 around 3, all the way up to 10. And this is how my audiobook page works, and when you watch that, you'll see. So, it's a cool way. See, I like to have a static website. I'll write that here, but something where that doesn't have open up and close again, because I like to have it so that you can see exactly how big it is. Because it helps you wrap your head around it easier. And if it's open and closed, you can't actually see how big everything is. When it's already open, you can see how big everything is by looking at the scroll bar here. And, you know, seeing how big the scroll bar is and scrolling up and down. You just see it all there. I like it that way. And you can still just jump around, linking around to it. So, yeah, so a lot of the lists that I have, here's some example of lists that I have. Here's numbered items that I have. So like I have 12 time dimensions on my timeline page. And my timeline's a big old list on the 5 column. That's the main thing that is the 5 column. They're the biggest thing. And then I have 14 size dimensions and my Google Earth download for my visualizing, you know, Sanctimonium and Ancient Rome. That double in size, 14, and then 45 Bibles, 46 Bibles, 45 size dimensions, Power 10, 48 audiobook categories, from the 99 historical event categories. Anyway, this is just a way to kind of group. You can group these things together and then stack these together on lists. So like if each one of these, you know, like 100 bike racer levels, you could have 100 bike racer levels on a list that's 100 that would take up like a page. Because I have it so it goes 20 down. Oh, I don't even have that explained here. Oh man, I'm not as far ahead as I thought. Yeah, so 100 would take up a whole page. But you could have these stacked on top of each other, these lists. Anyway, let's move on. Number, color, and number coding. Yeah, this is what I was talking about before. I got skipped around on myself. Yeah, so this is how it looks like in a rainbow kind of a setting. This is called the rainbow crystal, because this is kind of this is kind of like the flag of my website. I should put this on the front page, because this illustrates how each number and each color match, and also how I like to make text written in a square, so that I condense all of the information down in a way where you can kind of jump around, skip around with your links, kind of like a square concept. So that kind of is like the flag of my website. So here's an example. I should put this on my 5-column page actually, but here's an example of a list of 100 things. So each color has its number and a multiple of 10. So here's 1. So you can see I divide it up. So like, here you can actually see the different rainbows. Here's 1, and then you see it loops over. So here's 1. So you know that each time it loops over, that's 10, and 10's a good unit of a number to help visualize. You have 1, which is the dot, each dot, and then 10, increasing by a power factor of 10 is the rainbow, and then 100 is the whole page. So, and 20 would be doubled. So, and then so you can even grow it out like this. So helps you quadrify the numbers, kind of like a crystal. So here's acronym and font coding. I have this mainly on my website, my timeline, where the borders are different depending on what different thing they are. And like these, where territorial has this border. And different, thing has a different even font to it. Like tribe has this font, and then monarchy has this font. So I don't really, the rest of my website hasn't reached the development to need all of this on all the pages. But if I do, want to condense information when it becomes redundant and it's time to do that, then I have, in a new way, then I have this to draw on. It's kind of like a fountain, a well of language to take from. Yeah, so I'll explain my timeline after. So this is my front page basically describing the design of my website. I should explain, I guess, the concept. It's to put, or I guess to rehash, it's basically to put all of my information up here, and all my lists that I make, and whenever I have an idea, like my Bikeversity or Fantasylandia thing, I build it in this language. It's the new internet language, to condense information and help the brain, divide and conquer, and remember that way. Okay, so that's my front page. Peace out.